All right, hello everyone. This is episode 16 of B-Ball Pro Insider. I am Candace Wiggins and we're going to get right to it. This is part 2 of our playoff predictions program. So this is called Talking Trends, and in this video, I wanted to just take one idea from last video and really just talk about it in depth. So in this Talking Trends episode, it is basically, can be classified as we're going to see the receipts. So this is the receipts section where, I really just give and provide what I believe are really important to understand of what I'm talking about. So just give some context to everything that I feel, my point of view, because this is not about talking points. In this program, we're talking trends, and trends are things that occur over time. So it takes a lot of time to recognize trends, whereas hot takes and talking points don't take a lot of time. They're just basically like, quick pick up, say something really quick. This isn't that. This is really about things and trends that we're recognizing over time. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're watching today's program. Okay, so the first talking point that we're going to get into, and this is a big one, so it's going to be first, and I am just definitely think that it's the defining line of the 2021 NBA playoffs, and that is home court advantage. Home court advantage is so important to understand the full scope of who is going to win it all. In my opinion, my prediction, the home court team will win the 2021 NBA Finals. And so it's important with that in mind to identify what are these fan bases, who has this fan base, or who has the biggest chance to win it all. And this is basically going to come down to three important questions, three major questions about home court advantage. What is it? Who has it? And who ain't got it? Okay, so I want to just hit every single of those 3 points and try to get through it as quickly as possible. So first of all, what is it? What is home court advantage? Home court advantage can be measured in so many different ways. You can measure it by the noise of the crowd. You can measure it by, which I think is probably the biggest measurement. You can see it, you can feel it, and you can, even through television, through media, you can still understand how important and how loud and just how present the fans are physically in the arena. But it also is having to do with the players. The players are the ones who have control over the play, obviously. So they are you really look at them as performers. So to me, home court advantage is granted to the players, their performance. How much of their performance is enhanced by their home crowds? How much is what they do? How much is what, the way that they play? And the way that you really can see that is when it's home versus away. So, the player production performance is obviously going to be less than when they're on the road, but you really measure home court advantage by just, wow, these players just come alive at home. And there are certain teams that have that just phenomenally, and I believe that it's going to be the key to them winning. So what defining home court advantage really does, privately in my mind, what it does is it establishes an order. It establishes an order that, you can really determine now all of the factors. To me, it's one of those factors that is so determining that you can start to rank and classify the order of success for teams based on their home court advantage. And, there's also other advantages to it as well. But to me, the order that it establishes is the most critical. So with that being said, let's get right into it. I'm going to talk about what teams have it and then what teams ain't got it. So to me, the teams that have it, I am going to be speaking in order because, again, like I said, this is how it is presented to me over the course of the week. And so here's the order how I see it. Number 1, home court advantage goes to the Phoenix Suns. They have it so much, and it is mostly, there's a lot of factors, a lot of things you could talk about, but basically, the Phoenix Suns fans are not thirsty. They're not in a desert thirsty. They are starving. They are starving fans, starving, screaming fans who are so easily satisfied, easily satisfied with the success that they're seeing. And I think that they deserve it. No fan base deserves it more than the Phoenix Suns fans because, they haven't even been in this potential position, which is being in the Western Conference Finals since 2010. So it's been 11 years since they're in this exact position that they're about to find themselves in. And, you know, it really comes down to the players, the way that they play there. Chris Paul expressed it so well. Chris Paul, the NBA operator, the Phoenix fans are so blessed to have him there operating their success. I really feel like Chris Paul was completely robbed in 2018 through injury, when he was his own David slaying the Goliath of the Golden State Warriors. And I just think that this is his redemption opportunity. And that's why, to me, there are so many reasons why you really want to root for Phoenix. Even if you aren't necessarily part of their fan base, they're still a very easy team to be happy for, and you're especially really happy for their home crowd. And then, of course, they've got the franchise prodigy, Devin. I think I'm jealous of your jump shot. Booker. Yes, that's right. Devin, I think I'm jealous of your jump shot. Booker is also, you know, just one of those players that you have to root for, you have to cheer for, you know, and you're so happy for all of the Phoenix Suns' success. So I definitely think that Phoenix is number one in home court advantage. Okay, now number two in home court advantage is actually the number one seed, Utah. So I would put Utah at number two. Now, in the beginning of the week, I had Utah at number one because they were just so incredible. Looking and watching that Utah crowd, it was like, it's unreal. It's like almost like walking into another planet. It literally, there with the red and all that, it looks like Mars. It looks like it's another universe. And I couldn't even imagine how difficult that was for any opposing teams. You know, even the Clippers, like it's almost impossible to win there. But the reason why they're number two and not number one, even though I believe that they have the number one crowd and they have the number one overall seed, so they have that home court advantage, I have them as number two because, again, it all comes down to the players playing the game. And while all the players are completely energized and, you know, pumped up by their home crowd, it actually, you know, translates when you go on the road. It's very dramatic. So I think that it's going to be really difficult moving forward, even though they've established that they have the number one powerful crowd. It's not really translating where, you know, they're able to take that energy on the road. And so I just think that, you know, there's going to be a totally different shift when they get back to Salt Lake. And, you know, it's just going to be on that crowd to get that back for them because they definitely established it. Okay, number three on my list of order of home court advantage actually goes to the Milwaukee Bucks. And I know everyone is so hard on the Bucks. You know, they're so ready to dismiss them, call them the bad news Bucks. But there's a reason why, you know, the Bucks scored 86 points when they got blown out in game two and scored 86 points at home and still won, because Milwaukee is a tough place to play. And the fans, I think, really contribute to that, because the fans, not only are they excited cheering for their home team, they are very demanding fans. They know exactly what they want. They know exactly what they need to see to win. And, you know, they're just really wanting to redeem themselves from opportunities that they lost in the past. So you know, even though it might be over soon, this might be the last home game today as we speak. This might be the last chance that these fans get to see their 2021 Bucks. So you're really going to be looking to see, you know, them present today, but also present in the future, and, you know, in the future in the front office. And because, you know, this is a franchise that really, really wants and feels like they deserve success now, soon. So when you have fans like that demanding and expecting, it really brings a really good atmosphere and environment. I think it was very well showcased in game three. So number three goes to the Milwaukee Bucks. And then in fourth position of home court advantage, I would have to give that to the Philadelphia 76ers. And even though they lost that first game at home, which was a shock, it was definitely a second round, you know, shock when Atlanta was able to beat them at home. It's still just, if anything, it really just reestablished the commitment, the trusted process in Philadelphia. And I just think moving forward, I don't think that there's going to be any shocks like that or surprises. And I just think that there's such a solid fan base. They're loud, but they have this poise because of the team that they're cheering for. So I just really think that, you know, Philadelphia, even though they did have a slip with Atlanta, as you saw in that same Atlanta game that Atlanta beat them, they also had an opportunity with seconds left to come back and win. So I think that really speaks loudly to the fans, speaking loudly in late in game situations, and they're just not going to let Philadelphia lose on their watch. So I put Philadelphia at 4, and then finally 5th are the Brooklyn Nets, and I think that it really showed game 2, which game 2 is going to be forever known. It's going to be like the Alamo, and I think that game 2 is just going to always resonate with me watching and seeing, Brooklyn really come alive. This is their first look of this team, this, super team that everyone is excited about, that New York is buzzing about, the whole world is buzzing about. And I think that, Brooklyn, there really is an advantage there. I mean, nobody really wants to play in Brooklyn. Nobody wants to have to go against the New Yorker, and I just think that they're definitely, it's not super high because the team is a relatively new, successful team, but I still think that they are present and that home court advantage is definitely in their favor, in the players' favor. And you saw that with games 1 and 2. So those are who have it. Okay, finally, let's talk about who ain't got it. So who ain't got home court advantage? Number 1 on that list are the Denver Nuggets. So Denver, and it's no fault to them, really. I think that a lot of their problems that they're experiencing late in this playoffs are ingredients problems, and I think missing the key ingredient, Jamal Murray, is really, really difficult. So it's no fault and shame of the fans who are there present, and the altitude, the environment is definitely a factor. But in this case, it's one of those situations where unfortunately the players aren't really matching, the fans and their energy, because it's just one of those things where when you're missing a key player, you're just missing a key player. So that's number 1, I think, on who does not have home court advantage. Number 2 would be the Los Angeles Clippers. And I actually did a whole segment on this in the last video, episode 14. I talked about how, really the Clippers have like this reverse psychology, no home court advantage, but it still translates to them not having home court advantage. And, and I think that's something that short term, they're going to have to live with, but long term, there's potential there, especially if they keep winning, and they give some, the fans in Los Angeles a reason to rally around. I think that I see no reason why this can't be a really important year to rebuilding their own fan base and making themselves, when they get their home arena, to really be, the bosses and kings of LA in a way that no one really imagined or thought possible. So even though the Clippers have no home court advantage, I do see that fate changing soon, but not anytime in 2021. And then finally, the last team that does not, unfortunately, have home court advantage are the Atlanta Hawks. And, again, they're a young team, so they're really, looking to build up some momentum and build up some buzz, and they're going to have so many fans because Atlanta is just such a dynamic city in itself that they'll have no problems with that. But I just think that in terms of the advantage, home court advantage actually taking shape, where, besides it being, the Trae Young trap house, I don't really see, many advantages right now into play in 2021. In the future, absolutely, it could be lethal. But right now, unfortunately, the home court, and a lot of it's also an asterisk by the Atlanta Hawks, because they're not at full capacity. So they're not allowed to be as, loud and as they really want to be or should be. So there are a lot of factors that are leading to that, the lack of home court advantage. But either way, it was really difficult for them to control the series when they can't, really establish a home crowd presence. So those are who ain't got it. Okay, so that's it for this Talking Trends, this weekly episode. And we're gonna be covering more, like I said, in the weeks to come. I'll be identifying other trends happening that I see in the playoffs over time, and not just, hot takes, talking points. Again, it's really important. I want you guys to know that I will be going live on Facebook Live today watch with me live the Brooklyn Nets Bucks game. Trolls, you are welcome to troll me to oblivion. We can talk about it all, talk about all the things that I've said in this video versus away scoring. I really want to talk about the impact of injuries that they have, you know, the lasting impact. And then last, not least, and most important, the redemption from trolling, you know, the rewards that come from trolling, and just kind of get into that. So not really afraid, you know, to interact. So please, 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 if you are interested in, you know, continuing this conversation and just letting the players prove themselves on the court as they should and as they will, then make sure that you check me out on Facebook. I'll have all the links below, and I hope to see you in the next video next week. Bye.